Hello and thank you for tuning in to this week's episode of Bite-Sized Cybercrime, the podcast where we discuss cybercrimes and cybersecurity news. Today, we're going to be discussing ransomware, but not in the way that I typically would on this show. Instead of an organization being hit by ransomware and their files being encrypted, this is the story of a ransomware group instead becoming the victims of a cyber attack from a group of Ukrainian hacktivists. And I will say, ransomware groups are probably one of the few people I don't feel bad for when they end up being attacked. So, let's just get right into it. The Ukrainian Cyber Alliance is a group of Ukrainian internet activists and hackers united to counter against Russian cybercriminals and other similar Russian threat groups. The alliance formed even before the Russia-Ukraine conflict of 2022, forming back in 2014, and they've performed a number of different hacks on Russian websites, the Russian military, and even some Russian journalists. However, last week was the first time they actually targeted a Russian-based ransomware group. The group recently gained access to the Trigona ransomware group's infrastructure by using a vulnerability in Confluent's data center and server. This vulnerability was tracked as CVE 2023-22515, and it allowed the hacktivist group to escalate privileges in a relatively low-complexity attack on the Trigona group. This particular vulnerability is rated an 8.9 out of 10 by NIST. And when we break it down, this attack can be performed remotely over a network, has a low complexity, requires no privileges, and requires no user interaction. So that means the Ukrainian Cyber Alliance is able to attack the group without much effort at all. And the group was able to do this by creating unauthorized Confluence administrator accounts so that they could access basically everything on the threat actor's Confluence servers. This bug required absolutely no authentication prior to creating these administrator accounts, so anyone could theoretically do it. Once in, they were able to map the criminal group's network infrastructure completely without even being noticed, which is a pretty bold move. Hermit, one of the Ukrainian Cyber Alliance members, published screenshots of the ransomware gang's internal support documents on their Confluence site as proof that they'd actually managed this. Of course, the Trigona group noticed and were quite panicked to say the least. They changed their password and took down their public-facing infrastructure, but little did they know it was already too late. Or perhaps, being hackers themselves, they were well aware of just how much trouble they were in. Over the next few weeks, the Ukrainian Cyber Alliance managed to exfiltrate all the information from the threat actors' admin and victim panels, their blog, their leak site where their ransomware victims would be extorted, even their internal tools. They also managed to exfiltrate data from the group's ransomware source code and database records. It is possible that the information they uncovered contains decryption keys. However, the activists are not sure yet if this is the case, but they did promise to release any keys if they are found. Finally, the Ukrainian Cyber Alliance deleted the contents of their servers and defaced all of the Trigona websites, announcing to the world that Trigona is now gone. The UCA claims that they were able to retrieve 3 backups that contained hundreds of gigabytes, likely in stolen information, from organizations that were targeted and extorted by Trigona. The Trigona ransomware group emerged about a year ago and was pretty active in the year 2022, using a unique malware that had not yet been seen before. They accepted ransom payments in the cryptocurrency Monero, which uses a privacy-enhanced blockchain to obfuscate transactions, making it very difficult to trace, which, well, is ideal for a criminal hacking group. They were a pretty big emerging threat, targeting organizations of all industries from finance to tech to education to agriculture to marketing to healthcare. The group was also noted for going after poorly secured Microsoft SQL servers in order to deploy their ransomware. And yes, I am Team SQL, not SQL, and I will not apologize for that. Anyways, in order to attack those Microsoft SQL servers, Trigona would find them exposed on the internet and attempt to guess the password either via brute force methods or a dictionary attack. These are pretty similar attack methods. A brute force password attack just automatically guesses every possible combination of characters. A dictionary attack also involves somewhat of brute force guessing, but instead it's from a dictionary list. These can be lists of real English words, real words in other languages, or most commonly, lists of passwords that have been found in previous data breaches that people may be reusing. The Trigona sites are still down, and it is unknown if or when they will emerge again. It will likely be under a different name when they do decide to make an appearance, though we have information on their tactics, techniques, and procedures, and would be able to connect a new group to Trigona, especially if they continue to use their unique ransomware. However, the source code for that ransomware could also be leaked, so we may have some false flags as well. This would be from some opportunist hacking groups taking advantage of the newly leaked source code and using it as their own. For now, though, Trigona has been defeated. Their site has been destroyed and their data wiped. Their encryption keys and source code may be leaked in the coming weeks. It has not been a good week for them. Still, I have no doubts that victims of the Trigona ransomware group are thrilled to see their downfall at the hands of another hacking group. It's an irony that feels pretty sweet. And who knows, maybe other groups will be inspired to take on ransomware giants themselves. Or maybe the UCA itself isn't quite done here. Thank you for tuning in to this week's episode of Bite-Size Cybercrime, and thank you to Bleeping Computer, ARS Technica, and Bitdefender for information on the UCA's attack on the Trigona ransomware group, and another thanks to CISA.gov, SC Media, and again Bleeping Computer for information on the Trigona ransomware group themselves. And of course, thank you for tuning in to this week's episode of Bite-Size Cybercrime, and until next time, stay secure.